He walked into her life like something out of a dream. She was 40, picking up the pieces after a divorce, and he was 25, full of charm and big promises. For a while, their love story was Hollywood's favorite headline. But behind the scenes, things were falling apart. Now at 62, Demi Moore is finally revealing everything. The secret miscarriage, the 3 choices she regrets, and the addiction that nearly ended her life. This is the truth about Demi and Ashton. Demi Moore was born on November 11, 1962 in Roswell, New Mexico, and life wasn't easy from the start. Her father walked out before she was even born, leaving her mother to struggle with raising her. Things only got harder when, at just 15, Demi faced an unthinkable betrayal. In her memoir, she shared that her mother allowed an older man to take advantage of her for just $500. It was a trauma that left lasting emotional scars. Home life was no escape either. Both her parents drank heavily and they moved constantly, over 30 times before she even turned 14. She never had a real sense of stability or safety. At just 12 years old, she witnessed something no child should ever have to see. Her mother attempted to take her own life, and young Demi was the one who had to scoop pills out of her mother's mouth with her tiny hands while her stepfather held her down. That night forced her to grow up in an instant. School wasn't much better. Demi struggled with dyslexia, and on top of that, she had a medical condition that required eye surgeries. By 16, she decided to leave school altogether and live on her own. She took on all sorts of jobs to support herself, from modeling to debt collection. At 17, she thought she'd found an escape and married rock musician Freddie Moore. But the marriage lasted only 4 years, and she soon realized that running from the past didn't mean it disappeared. Despite everything, Demi wasn't ready to give up. She wanted more for herself and pushed forward. At 19, she got her big break, a role in the soap opera General Hospital. She played Jackie Templeton, a journalist, and beat out over 1,000 other actresses for the role. The pay wasn't great, just $750 per episode, but it was a start. Her character was bold and ambitious, which made her stand out in an era when women on TV were often portrayed as damsels in distress. Viewers loved her, and so did producers. But behind the scenes, Demi was battling a dangerous addiction. Partying hard for days at a time became her norm. Director Joel Schumacher saw her potential and decided to step in. He gave her a tough choice: get clean or lose out on her next big role in St. Elmo's Fire. Demi chose to fight for her career. The studio even hired someone to stay by her side 24/7 to make sure she didn't relapse during filming. In 1985, St. Elmo's Fire became a massive hit. The film followed a group of friends navigating adulthood, and Demi played Jules, a party girl struggling with her own demons, a role that hit close to home. Landing that part wasn't easy, but she proved she was willing to change. That film cemented her place in Hollywood and made her part of the Brat Pack, a group of rising young stars that included Rob Lowe and Emilio Estevez. While the actors weren't exactly thrilled with the label, the fame it brought them was undeniable. After St. Elmo's Fire, Demi's career skyrocketed. She took on roles in films like About Last Night and Ghost, turning her into one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Against all odds, she had made it. But her journey was far from over. Even after all these years, people still can't stop talking about the Brat Pack. In 2024, a documentary called Brats premiered, where Demi and her former co-stars looked back on that era. There's even talk of a St. Elmo's Fire sequel, with hopes of bringing back the original cast, including Demi. By 1990, Demi Moore wasn't just a rising star. She was a full-blown superstar, thanks to Ghost. The film was an absolute sensation, raking in $505.7 million worldwide, despite having a modest budget of just $22 to $23 million. It wasn't just the highest-grossing film of 1990. At the time, it was the third highest-grossing movie ever. Fans couldn't get enough of it, and in 1991, Ghost became the most rented video in the US. Demi played Molly Jensen, and her performance struck a chord with audiences everywhere. That pottery scene with Patrick Swayze, set to Unchained Melody, became one of the most iconic moments in movie history. Even her short haircut in the film turned into a global fashion trend, with women everywhere copying the look. But Ghost wasn't just a career-defining moment for Demi. It was also a unique moment for her and her then-husband Bruce Willis. While Ghost was ruling the box office, Die Hard 2 was also a massive hit, making them the first married Hollywood couple to have the top two films in theaters at the same time, a record that wouldn't be broken for another 34 years. The film's success wasn't just about the box office numbers. It earned Demi a Golden Globe nomination and a Saturn Award for Best Actress, proving that both fans and critics appreciated her performance. Ghost also did something groundbreaking. It blended romance, comedy, and the supernatural in a way that hadn't really been done before, showing Hollywood that taking creative risks could pay off in a big way. Demi kept up the momentum with more major roles. In 1992, she starred alongside Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. The film pulled in over $243 million worldwide, and Demi's portrayal of Lieutenant Commander Joanne Galloway proved she could hold her own in a serious, male-dominated movie. Then came Indecent Proposal in 1993, a film that sparked endless debate. The story revolved around a married couple offered $1 million for one night with a stranger, and Demi's performance as Diana Murphy turned the film into a massive hit, earning nearly $267 million on a $38 million budget. But with success came controversy. Feminists criticized Indecent Proposal for treating women like property, and Demi later admitted that the backlash was one of the toughest challenges of her career. Still, she kept choosing bold roles, seeing them as a way to challenge societal norms and redefine what women could do in Hollywood. Then came two of the riskiest roles of her career. In 1996, she starred in Striptease, playing a stripper, a role that grabbed headlines for its daring subject matter and Demi's nude scenes. She was paid a record-breaking $12.5 million, making her the highest-paid actress in Hollywood at the time. The following year, she took on an entirely different kind of challenge with G.I. Jane. Playing the first woman to go through Navy SEAL training, Demi committed fully. She shaved her head on camera, did many of her own stunts, and trained intensely, lowering her body fat to just 10%. These two films showcased two completely different sides of Demi. In Striptease, she embraced femininity and sexuality, while in G.I. Jane pushed physical limits in a traditionally male-dominated space. But both films sparked controversy. Striptease angered women, while G.I. Jane upset men. Looking back, Demi reflected on how playing a stripper made some people uncomfortable, while playing a soldier made others just as uneasy. These roles may have been divisive, but they cemented her reputation as one of Hollywood's biggest and boldest stars. Still, the intense criticism and public scrutiny started to take a toll on her. In her 2019 memoir, Demi Moore revealed that this period marked the beginning of a tough chapter in her personal life, filled with struggles related to substance abuse and body image issues. Her journey through love and relationships started early. At just 17, she married musician Freddie Moore on February 8, 1980. But as she later admitted in her memoir Inside Out, it wasn't about love. It was about escaping the pain of losing her stepfather. In fact, the night before the wedding, instead of feeling excited, she was on the phone with another man she'd met on a movie set. From the start, something didn't feel right. Even though the marriage wasn't built to last, Demi took Freddie's last name, keeping it as her stage name for the rest of her career. During their time together, they even worked on music, with songs like It's Not a Rumor gaining some attention. But deep down, Demi knew she was too young and still figuring out who she was. She later admitted to sabotaging the marriage herself because, in her heart, she knew it wasn't right. By 1985, it was over, but the experience left a lasting impact, shaping how she saw love, trust, and even herself. Her next love story played out like a Hollywood movie. In 1987, Demi met Bruce Willis at a premiere while she was still engaged to Emilio Estevez. But the spark between her and Bruce was undeniable. Just 4 months later, while in Las Vegas for a boxing match, Bruce proposed on the spot. They got married right then and there on November 21, 1987, impulsive, but for a while it worked. Together, they became one of Hollywood's most iconic couples. Bruce was becoming a major action star with Die Hard, and Demi was breaking records as one of the highest-paid actresses in history. They had 3 daughters, Rumor in 1988, Scout in 1991, and Tallulah in 1994. But despite their strong bond, their careers kept them apart. Bruce wanted Demi to stay home more, while she was busy making history, earning $12.5 million for Striptease and refusing to slow down. Even with their differences, they made things work for a long time. They even acted together in Mortal Thoughts, but by 1998, after 11 years of marriage, they decided to separate. Unlike many Hollywood breakups, theirs was surprisingly peaceful. They stayed friends, co-parented their kids, and even attended each other's weddings years later. Their blended family became an example of how divorced couples could still support one another. One of Demi's biggest struggles during this time was balancing motherhood with her career. When she had Rumor in 1988, she didn't hit pause. In 1991, she made headlines by posing nude while pregnant with Scout for the cover of Vanity Fair. That photo became iconic, proving that motherhood didn't mean hiding or losing your identity. She worked hard to make Hollywood fit around her family life. While filming G.I. Jane had a nursery built on set for her youngest daughter. But no matter how much she did, she often felt guilty for not being around enough. After her divorce from Bruce, she made a drastic choice. She left Hollywood and moved to Idaho, wanting her daughters to grow up away from the spotlight. It was a bold move that showed just how much she valued being a mom above all else. Then in 2003, a new chapter began. Demi met Ashton Kutcher at the New York premiere of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. She was 40 and he was 25. Despite the 15-year age gap, there was an instant connection. Demi was drawn to Ashton's charm and humor, and within just a day of meeting, they had an 8-hour phone call, diving deep into their dreams and philosophies on life. That conversation set the stage for a romance that would move faster than anyone expected. Just 3 weeks after meeting, Ashton had already met Demi's daughters and even her ex-husband, Bruce Willis. Then, in a bold and surprising move, he popped the question just 2 months into their relationship. He planned a romantic midnight picnic on a beach in Santa Barbara, spelling out "Marry Me" with rose petals. The engagement ring? A stunning 5-carat Asher-cut diamond worth $250,000. By the 4th month, they had moved in together and even started a production company, Catalyst Films. Their first project, Beauty and the Geek, became a hit, cementing their status as Hollywood's newest power couple. But their relationship soon faced a heartbreaking challenge. Demi suffered a miscarriage 6 months into her pregnancy. The loss devastated them, but they leaned on each other, attending grief counseling 3 times a week for months. Ashton later said that going through this tragedy made him realize he was ready for fatherhood, strengthening their bond even more. The media couldn't get enough of their 15-year age gap, and it quickly became a major talking point. When they made their first public appearance as a couple at the Charlie's Angels Full Throttle premiere, the press went wild. Over 200 photographers crowded the event, with some even offering $100,000 for a photo of them kissing. Late-night comedians and talk shows had a field day with their relationship, and the term cougar exploded into mainstream pop culture, with Demi often being labeled as its poster child. But instead of letting the jokes get to them, Demi and Ashton played along. In 2005, Demi even appeared in a Saturday Night Live skit wearing old-age makeup, poking fun at the media's obsession with their age difference. In September 2005, they tied the knot in a private ceremony at their Beverly Hills home, with just 100 guests, including Bruce Willis. Demi wore a stunning Lanvin gown, while Ashton opted for a cream Brooks Brothers suit. Their vows took place under a chuppah, reflecting their spiritual beliefs. One of the most touching moments came when Demi's daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah, read heartfelt letters to Ashton, who in return gifted each of them a Cartier Love bracelet as a symbol of his commitment to their family. Bruce Willis was reportedly moved to tears during the ceremony. After the wedding, Demi and Ashton embraced their blended family life. They bought a home in Idaho where they spent vacations, hosted themed parties, and enjoyed a peaceful escape from Hollywood. Despite their unusual dynamic, they made it work, co-parenting smoothly with Bruce, even vacationing as one big extended family. Bruce himself praised Ashton, saying he was one of the only men his daughters had ever told "I love you" to. Ashton took his role as a stepfather seriously. At just 27, he became a key figure in the lives of 3 girls, Rumor, 17, Scout, 14, and Tallulah, 11. He showed up to their school events, cheered at their performances, and even learned how to French braid their hair. Wanting to do things right, he took parenting classes, saying, "Love isn't something that gets divided, it grows." He encouraged the girls' passions, helping Rumor set up her first Twitter account and even producing her movie, The Whole 10 Yards. Scout later credited Ashton with inspiring her love of technology, which led her to study computer science. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Tallulah admitted that Ashton's presence initially confused her. She wasn't sure how to see him as a father figure. Rumor even confessed to having had a crush on Ashton before he started dating her mom, which made things a little awkward at first. Despite these challenges, Ashton remained close to the girls even after his and Demi's relationship came to an end. Rumor received his public support during her performances on Dancing with the Stars, and he later participated in the celebration of her pregnancy announcement. As evidence of his unwavering commitment to the family that he was instrumental in establishing, Ashton stated that he would continue to love and support them even in the year 2020. When Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher learned that they were having a child, they were filled with happiness. During a regular visit on September 23, 2003, Moore was 41 years old and 6 months pregnant when their happiness changed into sadness. Moore was experiencing the loss of her pregnancy. Chaplain Ray, their beautiful newborn girl, did not have a heartbeat. Moore, who had been clean and sober for almost 20 years, was brokenhearted by the loss. In the beginning of her pregnancy, she believed that her occasional drinking and smoking were the causes of the problem. She blamed herself for it. It was a devastating blow to her. As a result of her depression, she began to make use of alcohol and medicines such as Vicodin in order to dull the discomfort. She went from weighing 98 pounds to a dangerously low weight of just 98 pounds. When the couple attempted to conceive once more, they went through many rounds of in vitro fertilization, IVF, but nothing was successful. Moore felt even more shattered than before. Her description of this time period in 2019 was that she was feeling absolutely lost and empty, and she was having a hard time understanding how to move on. Moreover, the miscarriage caused rifts to appear in their marriage itself. It was impossible for Kutcher to truly comprehend Moore's suffering, despite his best attempts. Moore stated in her memoir, Inside Out, that he made an effort to be sympathetic, but he was unable to connect with the extent of her sadness. This emotional gap continued to widen, gradually distanced them from one another. They tried innovative methods to rekindle their connection in an effort to salvage their marriage, which was in a state of critical need of saving. Additionally, Moore disclosed in her memoir that they had threesomes, which was something that Kutcher desired. With the intention of making him happy, she gave in and accepted. However, rather than bringing them closer together, it caused her to feel guilty and uncertain about their relationship. They also participated in spiritual practices, such as going to the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles and even going to Israel for a retreat in an effort to find answers. But none of it was of any use. Everything went from bad to worse as a result of the pressure to have a kid, Moore's difficulties with addiction, and the age gap between them. The treachery occurred after that. On September 24, 2011, the day that this couple celebrated their 6th wedding anniversary, rumors began to circulate that Kutcher had spent the night with a lady called Sarah Leal, who was 22 years old. What is the most shocking aspect? An earlier encounter between Moore and Leal took place at a bowling alley, where Leal aggressively offered Kutcher her phone number in front of Moore and her daughter. Moore had seen Leal before. Moore found out about the affair in the most unfortunate way possible, through a Google alert that appeared on her phone as she was getting ready for an event that involved a red carpet. Upon her confrontation, Kutcher revealed that he had done it. According to Moore, she was so astonished that she was unable to breathe. Subsequently, she became aware of the fact that this was not the initial instance. In the past, he had cheated on his partner with a lady named Brittany Jones, who was 21 years old. Kutcher attempted to excuse his conduct by claiming that their threesomes had blurred the lines in their relationship, which only served to make the situation even more difficult at hand. It simply served to make Moore's pain worse. As a result of the scandal being public, her private suffering was transformed into a public spectacle. They were required to make an appearance together at a charity event for their foundation that fights against human trafficking just a few days after the news broke. In spite of the fact that Moore was aware of what he had done, he was required to observe Kutcher while he delivered a speech. It really was embarrassing. Moore said that they had decided to part ways on November 17, 2011, describing the decision as one that was both difficult and essential. She stated that it was necessary for her to be authentic. For close to 2 years, the process of getting a divorce was drawn out. Kutcher filed for divorce in December of 2012, and the couple's separation was eventually completed at that time. Following the emotional reunion that Demi and her daughters experienced, the healing process was a slow one, but it was one that was profoundly significant for them. In the episode of Red Table Talk that aired in 2019, they discussed the challenges they had to overcome and the efforts they made to re-establish their family relationships. Tallulah stated that she had harbored resentment toward her mother's decisions for a considerable amount of time, and that she knew she would never be able to forgive her. However, while she worked on her own healing, she came to the realization that harboring negative emotions would not be beneficial to either of them. Getting back in touch with Demi was the most challenging but also the most essential step. Initially, Rumor and Scout were more apprehensive than the others. Having spent years experiencing feelings of abandonment and hurt, the concept of reintroducing their mother into their life was not an easy one to accept. Then, however, they began to open up once more, once they witnessed how diligently she was working to maintain her sobriety and to regain their trust. Demi, on the other hand, acknowledged that she was fully responsible for her behavior. She confessed that she had failed them, and rather than making excuses, she concentrated on demonstrating by her actions that she was dedicated to making a change. The year 2019 was a significant turning point for Demi when she published her memoir, titled Inside Out. Within it, she exposed everything, including the traumatic experiences she had as a youngster, her struggles with addiction, the marriages that did not work out, and the errors she made as a mother. Not only was she expressing her tale through the act of writing it, but it was also her way of taking responsibility for everything and making amends. The truthfulness was appreciated by her daughters, and rather than feeling embarrassed, they were proud of her. This book became more than just a bestseller. It became a representation of her journey toward recovery. In the same year, another unanticipated incident drew their family even closer together. Bruce Willis, Demi's ex-husband and the father of her children, was diagnosed with aphasia, a condition that affects speech and cognitive functions. This pushed their family even closer together. Demi stayed deeply involved in Bruce's life despite the fact that they had divorced many years previously. When Bruce's condition became more severe, she took advantage of the opportunity to assist him. During the COVID-19 pandemic that occurred in the year 2020, Demi, Bruce, and their daughters made news when they isolated themselves together as a family in the state of Mississippi. The fact that they remained so close to one another even after decades of change came as a surprise to the fans. However, for Demi, this was only another evidence that love and family ties do not vanish. Rather, they simply develop with time. There was a deep bond that developed between her and Emma Hemming, who is currently married to Bruce. They work together to provide care for Bruce and to maintain their blended family. The path that Demi has traveled has been fraught with highs and lows, but she has never given up fighting for the people that she cares about. She has gotten clean, is re-establishing her relationship with her daughters, and is living life on her own terms. Today, she is in a much better place. In retrospect, she has stated that everything that she went through, regardless of how awful it was, contributed to the formation of the person that she is now. One thing that she has realized is that healing is not about erasing the past. Rather, it is about moving on with love, forgiveness, and strength. This is the most important thing that she has learned. Each of Tallulah, Rumor, and Scout battled their own unique challenges in relation to their mother's history. Rumor used to experience panic attacks whenever she thought about running into Demi, and Scout was filled with wrath and bitterness. Tallulah felt as if she had been abandoned from the group. She did not avoid their suffering. Rather, she accepted full responsibility for it, acknowledging that her addiction had resulted in significant emotional wounds within their family. Her determination to recover led her to devote herself to therapy and family counseling for a period of 1.5 years, during which time she worked diligently to re-establish trust. In 2017, Demi and her girls went to a retreat in Arizona for a week, which turned out to be one of the most significant turning points in their lives. The two of them sat in meditation together, engaged in activities that helped them heal emotionally, and gradually began to restore their broken relationships. They were able to reconnect in ways that they hadn't done in years thanks to the life-changing impact of that week. At this point, they are more connected than they have ever been before. They celebrate holidays together, encourage one another through social media, and even collaborate on artistic projects as a familial unit. In the year 2022, as Demi was celebrating her 60th birthday, her kids surprised her with a thoughtful gift. They each received matching tattoos of the word mother, written in Demi's handwriting. The fact that they had gone so far as a family was represented by this heartfelt symbol. Additionally, despite the dissolution of their marriage in the year 2000, Demi stayed quite close to Bruce Willis. They demonstrated that divorce does not necessarily entail the dissolution of a family. Rather, it represents the beginning of a new sort of connection. It was in 2022 when Bruce's family made the announcement that he had been diagnosed with aphasia, and Demi was one of the first people to express her love and support for Bruce. Following that, she has devoted a significant amount of time to spending time with him, Emma Hemming Willis, and their combined family. Demi joined them in 2023 to celebrate Bruce's 68th birthday, and she shared a video of everyone singing Happy Birthday together, which was a very touching moment. In a short amount of time, the video went viral, demonstrating how strong their connection is even now. The extent of their friendship had been made abundantly clear even many years ago. During the 2019 Comedy Central roast of Bruce, Demi entered the stage and gave a hilarious joke about their history. She said, "I was married to Bruce for the first 3 Die Hard movies, which makes sense because the last 2 were terrible." Seeing how they could joke about their background was a very entertaining sight for the spectators. In addition, they were supportive of each other's new relationships. Demi was there at Bruce's wedding to Emma in 2009, while Bruce was present at Demi's wedding to Ashton Kutcher in 2005. Rumor once stated that having divorced parents who still cared about each other was the best example of love she could have asked for. Their children have always expressed their gratitude for the caring and respectful manner in which their parents have maintained their relationship. At the age of 62, Demi's perspectives on love have undergone a full transformation. An interview that she gave to Vogue on the occasion of her birthday in 2024 revealed that the relationship that she has with herself is the most significant one in her life. Having reached a point where she is already full in her own right, she no longer feels the need for another person to complete her. There is even a new name that she came up with to describe her way of life: solo partnering. Rather than concentrating on finding a romantic partner, it is more important to concentrate on one's own personal development and happiness. Due to the fact that the concept struck a chord with a large number of individuals, the hashtag #solo partnering began trending on the internet soon after the interview. When compared to her previous partnerships, Demi's current dating life appears to be rather different. Each of the 3 dates that she went on over the course of the previous year was carefully selected. One of them was with an astronomer that she had met at a TED Talk, and rather than going out to a lavish supper, they went stargazing in the Mojave Desert. The event, according to Demi, was not romantic, but it was one of the most significant experiences she has ever had in her life. She is no longer looking for love, but if it does come her way, it will be the way she wants it to be. Demi's unexpected friendship with Mila Kunis, who is married to Ashton Kutcher, is one of the most surprising things that has happened to her in her life. They have even begun a book club together, which meets once every 2 weeks to discuss books, life, and everything else that may possibly be related to the topic. Demi has become a mature and forgiving person, and her fans respect her for this. She has embraced life with comedy and knowledge. When it comes to the future, Demi has not completely disregarded the possibility of falling in love, but she is well aware of what she desires. If she ever finds herself falling in love with another person, it will not be because she is in need of them. Rather, it will be because they provide something unique to her life, which is already very satisfying. And there is one thing that cannot be negotiated. They must really love her dog, Pilaf, who has become a small Instagram star with almost 2 million followers.